people, try and get to some conversations going about what happened tonight. Craziness, nothing but craziness tonight at the Oscars. How are you doing? What's up, Brett? What's up? Deserving win and a huge step in the right direction for the Academy. Yeah, that was my tweet. If you're just joining me live here on the Outlaw Nation, it is John Rocha. Yeah, sorry, the place is a little bit of disarray. We're making some changes around here in the office. Got some blinds going. Got my new chair. That looks just like the chair I had over at Collider. Really help. Let's see what happens. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Let's see what else we got. All this stuff going on. Let's talk about it all. Let's get to it all and have some fun with all this kind of jazz and see who is coming into the chat to talk to us about everything going on. Oh, a lot of people already jumping in. It's so fantastic. So tonight I thought was actually a damn good Oscars ceremony, to be honest with you. Thought it was a lot of fun. Thought it went faster than people were worried about or people were concerned about. I also enjoyed the fact that, people understood we had to get going from one thing to another. They only had 45 seconds, and it was the rare person in the first couple of hours that went over the time and tried to make them play the music to play them off. I think a lot of people understood that they're just happy to be there, happy to be nominated, happy to win. And that certainly seemed to be the vibe for me overall. A lot of surprises tonight, a lot of positive stuff tonight as well. A lot of love for some films that maybe should have gotten a little more love acting wise or what have you. I thought so too. So those kinds of things are interesting to see. I was very happy about that overall and incredibly excited to see how many of these were done well. The Joker, Midsommar, what have you, was all over the place. I enjoyed that. Really enjoyed the pace of the show. The bits were funny when they were up there on stage. I thought Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph were really funny. I thought Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell were very funny. Not a lot of big, I guess, how can I say this? There were a couple of big surprises tonight, but there weren't a lot of, it wasn't a night full of surprises. But the surprises we did get were welcome and were fantastic. I mean, first of all, Eminem. Who saw the Eminem thing coming up? That's insane. Eminem being there, as much love as scores do. And, if you want to be honest with yourself, I'm sure a lot of you have soundtracks to movies that you listen to all the time, either in the gym or driving around or what have you. I'm sure a lot of you have those soundtracks that are the soundtracks in essence of your life, whether it's a Rocky soundtrack or the Footloose soundtrack or the Crow soundtrack, any number of other soundtracks, the Almost Famous soundtrack, the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. Those are all great soundtracks that a lot of people listen to and enjoy. And of course, the scores are to be revered as well. But I think the soundtracks rarely get the same kind of love. So it was nice to see that happening. And I thought Eminem was badass. Was he on point? It felt like it'd been a while since he'd done that song, where he was kind of doing it in a different way. So it wasn't as powerful as I was hoping it would be. Still, it was pretty awesome to see Eminem on there. But the two big surprises, obviously, Best Director, Best Picture. Wow. I mean, I called Bong Joon-ho. I had a weird vibe about it this morning when I tweeted about it. I just had a feeling that Bong Joon-ho was going to do it. He was due, and he did it. But I did Parasite, though. Seeing the Academy give it to a foreign language film. That says volumes about Parasite. And I think I said in the preview we did for Geek Buddies that there's a possibility, as it's been swelling, that this could be the Spider-Verse of this year. Remember Spider-Verse last year? Initially, a lot of people thought it wasn't going to be nominated, that it would lose out to Disney or Pixar. But the groundswell of people behind Spider-Verse kind of pushed it into an Oscar victory. So maybe the same thing happened here with Parasite. The groundswell of people from all the other awards organizations, the awards guilds, what have you, pushed this into the realm of possibility for Parasite to win Best Picture. I was very, very impressed by that. Wow, 200 of you all in here. Please give me some likes. I'm only at 26 likes. If there's 200 of you in here, come on in and give me some likes, please. Randy G in a super chat here. Going to wind up missing your stream currently, but here's some support while I go fire up Parasite. Hey, I respect that, Randy. If you want to watch the movie again, make sure it's like it deserves its Best Picture victory, which I think it ultimately does. It's pretty fantastic stuff there for Parasite. But also, like I said in my tweet, what it signals that could be happening with the Academy, and that's a sea change where now we start, if these films are, and I'm gonna finish the sentence in a second, these films that have been coming out, these massive blockbusters, right? What do people complain about the most? It's that they go and like cast people from other countries so they can, kind of make money in those countries. Like China is a big star, big example of that, trying to curry favor with the Chinese market. But now what we've been seeing over the last few years, this idea is that films are global, right? Studios see profits as global, not just domestic. It's global. That's really what drives a lot of the box office lately. So by that token, if you're going to go the blockbuster route and try to make as much money globally, by the same token, you can't close the door towards art films or really good films that can cross over from another country into America, be subtitled, and still be appreciated or considered for Best Picture. I think that's really important. So the fact that the fact that it's 2020 and finally a film from a foreign language has won Best Picture, the big prize, I think hopefully sets a new precedent for the Academy that just because it isn't in English or just because it isn't an American-made film or a British-made film, it shouldn't be, or Canadian, if there's ever any of those, it shouldn't be considered for a Best Picture. So I think this is fantastic. And the best foreign language, best international feature, winning that doesn't mean necessarily that that's your consolation gift and that you won't win the big prize. Clearly, what Parasite did here was massive. So I'm happy about that. Oh, I'm gonna move the light just a little more. Yeah, there we go. How's that? That's better. I think that's better. It's been shining too much on my head. Maybe from behind me. There we go. All right. That's a lot better. There we go. Ah, that feels better. All right. All right, let's get to some of these things that are happening. A lot of you all in here, I appreciate it. I don't know if anyone's moderating, so I'm sorry if no one's moderating right now, but I'm doing the best I can on the fly. Want to talk to you all for a little bit before I have to wrap it up and head to bed. Maybe in an hour and a half, I'll stay up with you guys. Let's start going through some of these. Ooh, let's start going through. Okay. Let's see if I can read some questions. Jeremy Miller said Chris Rock and Steve Martin had a great opening. I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I felt like some of the jokes were a little too on the nose. And I might be the only one who feels this way. And I guess maybe we can start here a little bit with me is I felt it was just a little bit too political tonight. And I hope that doesn't bother anybody. But for me, I just felt like it was a little too on the nose with the political stuff. And I didn't think it needed to necessarily be there. And I thought there was another way that they could have gone with that rather than having it be so political from so many people. All right, I'm in the Streamlabs now. Let's see, Drunk Jedi Jay, this is from a Super Chat actually. He said, biggest disappointment, Toy Story 4 winning. Didn't dislike it, just thought there were maybe 3 better films in that category. Hey, I don't disagree with you. I absolutely do not disagree with you. I think it's certainly there were a number of films that could have been that should have won the best animated. I thought Klaus had a real shot at kind of sneaking that in there and taking it from some of the big fish, but unfortunately it did not do that. So sadly, that is not what happened with that. But yeah, Toy Story 4 is a good movie. I'm not going to fault it for winning Best Picture. Frozen, or Best Animated Feature. Frozen 2 had been nominated and had won. I think I would have had some issues with that, or a lot more issues with that than I do with Toy Story 4. I'm happy Toy Story 4, or I'm happy for Toy Story 4 because that was a damn good movie. But a lot of people felt like Missing Link was going to slide in and take this one, but I thought that was kind of boring, and I love the Leica stuff usually. I just felt Missing Link was a little boring, so I wasn't surprised it didn't win. I was almost kind of grateful it didn't win, to be honest with you. All right, that was from and then Brett sends a super chat in here. Momentum really shifted Parasite's way the last few days leading up to tonight. What a deserving win, and a huge stuff for him to win that. And he certainly gave a great speech about it and talking about, being young and being exposed to movies and thanking his mom and all that jazz. That was fantastic. I thought the speeches overall tonight were really good and were really heartfelt and sweet and to the point and made stances without needing to be overt about their stance. I was thinking about the documentary, the short documentary, the 2 women who came up who won for short documentary. I think it was short documentary. One of them had gotten an award from Frank Capra way back when she was a student filmmaker, and it had taken her 4 decades to actually win an Oscar. She spoke about how the inspiration from Frank Capra motivated her to keep going during all those years, and I'm sure there are probably some lean years, some tough years. So I thought that was a great stance to take and a position to make. Overall, though, I thought there were a bit too many political stances. We'll talk about it as we go along here. Sam O says, how big an upset is Parasite's win for Best Picture? It's pretty big. It's pretty big. Not a lot of people. I mean, I think people wanted it to win, but I think people wanted it to win despite the fact that they knew inside that there was a real possibility it wouldn't win. And so the fact that it did win, I think, is fantastic. I know I see already people. I saw Scott Mance tweeting his video of celebration, but it was a bit of a long shot. Yes, it came through, but there was very real possibility that the Academy was not going to give it to Parasite. Certainly, a number of factors came together for them to give it to Parasite, and we'll see what it leads to. Wiley Todd, another super chat from you, my man. Hey, Rocha, it's my birthday today. Well, happy birthday, Wiley Todd. Happy birthday, my man. And won in 1917 to win director's score and Best Picture. But question, do you think the win for Parasite was more than just the film? It was beyond that. I don't know what that means. What do you mean by that? Like, can you be specific? What does that mean? Do you think it – I don't know what beyond that means. You're going to have to be specific, Wiley. I'm happy to answer your question. You don't have to donate another chat. Just let me know what your question is. I don't think there was anything more beyond the fact that people really like this movie and came to see it and watched it. And I think the changing of the Academy maybe could be something to do with it too. Younger Academy base, more cultures involved here, more diversity in the Academy voting base. Maybe more people saw Parasite than would have 10 years ago or even 5 years ago in the Academy and were willing to give it a chance or at least consider it for Best Picture up against these other films too. So that's a positive overall. I think, personally, myself, I think it's a positive because there's a number of films that I think deserve Best Picture that were foreign-based films, for sure, in my mind. I mean, I thought Il Postino was a fantastic foreign film that should have at least won or been considered for Best Picture. I thought Cinema Paradiso should have won Best Picture. That's in my top 10 of films ever or top 20 films ever. So I certainly think that should have won Best Picture. So there's a number of, I thought, in my opinion, a number of films that should have been considered over the years for Best Foreign Language Film and were not. I mean, there's a number of French films. Certainly Cyrano de Bergerac, the Gerard Depardieu adaptation of that play from Rostand should have been nominated for Best Picture and considered for Best Picture. So as the walls go down in our culture, in our world, on the internet, as we're exposed to more countries and more stuff going on globally, why shouldn't the Oscars reflect that? And I think you have to go back to this comment from Bong Joon-ho a few weeks ago when they asked him about the Oscars, and he said it was a great local ceremony, and there was maybe a shot across the bow that wasn't necessarily meant to shame the Academy. It was more meant to make the Academy wake up and take notice of films that are not American-based or with American directors. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean now all of a sudden all these foreign language films are going to be nominated for Best Picture and start winning. No, but at least it opens the door to the possibility of the ones that are great crossing over into possibilities or consideration for Best Picture. And here's another thing. It also opens the door for animated features to be considered now as well, even more so to be considered for Best Picture in the big category. So all of that, this could signal really positive sea change for the Academy, for the Oscars, for people watching it. I think it's a positive overall, and we'll see down the road how much it yields for everything. All right, everybody, if you're going to send stuff in, please, if you're going to send questions in or send donations in, feel free to support the show or support me. Do it with the Streamlabs, which I think is streamlabs.com/John Rocha, or on the Super Chat. Either way works for me. I prefer the Streamlabs since it doesn't take 30% off. And I know Paul Denuzzo has always been telling me about StreamYard and all these kinds of things. I'm going to be exploring that next, that's for sure. But for right now, this is what I got going on. All right, let's jump into this. I've got like what 200, wow, almost 300 of you in here with me. Thank you so much for joining me. 137 likes. Can we get that up? Can I get you guys to hit that like button that's over there on your right? Whoa, what's going on there? Oh, interesting. Let's see here. Let me let me take this down. Let me see what I can do in terms of the a camera, right? It's being a little weird. You guys sense it's a little weird? I'm a little out of focus. I wonder what's happening here. Zoom. There we go. Look at that. Zooming it up. Nice. All right, there we go. Now are we gonna? Does it say if it can focus? Here we go. Focus it up. How about this way? No. How about this way? No, way out of focus there. Let's be in focus here. Perfect. All right. That's going to be the best we can do, I think, in terms of focus. I'm happy with that. I just didn't want the mirrors being back there the whole time and what have you. All right. Anything else? No preference? Basic? All right. We're good to go. I'm just minimize that. And now let's get to it. All right. Another one here. Xavier Gomez, Eminem, a welcome surprise. Yeah, nobody talked about that. Nobody was saying that Eminem was going to be at the show. So to see him do Lose Yourself, I was incredibly happy about that. Really happy about that. I thought he did a fantastic job making everybody feel that song again. And, like I said earlier, the idea of soundtracks I thought was fantastic as well. Pretty cool stuff. Oh, I'm getting a text from my friend. He is at the Elton John after party. My friend, I can't say his name because I don't want to reveal if he's in trouble or I don't want to get him in trouble in any way, shape, or form. But he is at this thing. He is seated with the cast of Queer Eye and Stevie from Schitt's Creek. There's also a live auction going on. Wow, this is a beautiful after party. Holy mackerel. Elton John after party. Nice. I'd like to show you the picture, but I'm not allowed to. All right. Let's see. Let's get to some questions here. I don't see any Streamlabs. I don't want to miss any. Oh, Sean Monk. Here we go. Oh, here we go. All right. Ben Rayner first. Hey, Rocha, did you like the 8 Mile performance? I liked it. Brought some energy to the theater, in my opinion. Absolutely. I think tonight people were just kind of like rolling with what was happening. Felt like Hollywood was kind of subdued a little bit for the Oscars. I think last year what happened with the non-host and all the controversy there, they weren't sure how to behave. And I think people kind of came in feeling like this is an Oscars with not a lot of surprises in store because the same people had been winning through multiple guild ceremonies or multiple award shows. So they didn't feel like, this one was, we know who's going to win. So, but there were moments of surprises and that woke up the crowd. And I think Eminem was one of those ones that woke up the crowd in such a positive way. I was very happy to see that. And I thought he did a great job. And I was thinking, I said that to my girlfriend as we were watching. Isn't it funny, like a few years ago, Eminem was like vilified as homophobic and, racist and all this jazz with him and the controversy going on with him and his ex-wife or his girlfriend and his daughter and his mom. All this stuff was happening. And like 10 years later, he is like this like statesman of rap. And when he shows up to the Academy, it's like a big deal. And he's an older dude. He's got his beard. He's got the darker hair. He's just doing his thing. And, him with the orchestra and everything, pretty badass. And I think a lot of us who grew up with Eminem's music and have probably listened to Lose Yourself before going to an audition, before hosting a show, part of your favorite speech tonight. Keep bringing the goods. We love you here in Buffalo, New York. #top 10 Toronto. I love Buffalo. Respect to Buffalo. Congratulations on your Bills making the playoffs. Shout out, Sean. Yeah, you guys, I think next year you guys make the AFC Championship. We'll see if you get the Super Bowl, but certainly the AFC Championship is a possibility for Buffalo if they do some good work in the offseason as well. My favorite speech my favorite part of the favorite speech last, I think it has to be the Joaquin speech because you could tell he was very emotional about delivering it. And I think my favorite part of it, although I enjoyed the whole thing, was when he referenced the lyric from his brother River, who of course tragically died. I thought that was, River, who tragically died. I thought that was incredible to make that reference and that feeling, a connection again with River. And so I thought that was nice because a lot of people have always been wondering, like, oh, would River have been as great as Joaquin is now? because he was so good already when he unfortunately died so young. So that I thought was overall like a positive experience, a positive situation. So I was very happy to see that. All right, let's move on to the next super chat here. Where's that? Is that from Sarge? Yeah, Sarge. Am I serving? Yeah, so it's a tough question. I think the Academy is still biased towards superhero films. Yes, Joaquin won for Joker, but Joker is as far away from your standard superhero film as you're going to get. Even farther than Logan, which was essentially a Western with a guy who happened to have claws come out of his hands. This is Joaquin Phoenix is a character study from the 70s. That's what this film is. It's Taxi Driver. It's King of Comedy. It's those kinds of films. French Connection. It's that vibe. And so he just becomes the Joker as the film goes along, right? Yeah, he has the clown makeup at the beginning, but he's not the Joker, and that's way later in the film. So to me, I think people still have a thing, or the Academy still has a thing about superhero films, and so they voted that way by giving it to 1917. Maybe a lot of them actually felt that the one-shot thing that they did was pretty incredible, but I don't know how much of that is necessarily special effects and how much of that is direction and coordination and all that jazz. So yes, do I think Endgame deserved it? Absolutely, hands down. But I'm telling you why I think the Academy voted against it. I think that's what it is. Still the bias there of superhero films. All right, what's our next one? J-Dog. What's up, J-Dog? Phoenix wins the Oscar, prompting the question, Jared who? Okay. All right. That's fair. I think that's a fair thing for you to say. Jared who? Well, I guess so. All right. Paul wants to know, did you notice glaring snubs on the In Memoriam? No, I did not. Send me some, Paul. Let me know what you think, which ones they were. I did not see any of them there. I saw a lot of great people, including Kirk Douglas. It was nice to see him in there. Great to see Terry Jones. Great to see Doris Day. Great to see a lot of the iconic John Witherspoon, a lot of these great iconic people from our past. Of course, Kobe at the beginning, pretty heartbreaking to see that one there. And a number of other people involved in the In Memoriam I thought was great. And how they staged it out, I thought worked really well as well. So I don't know who was missed. Let me know. Let's see. Is anyone, I don't know. Yeah, Robert Curatello says, bad night for The Irishman. Yeah, true. That's how it goes. You're going to make a 3.5-hour movie. You're gambling that people are going to love it as much as the old school epics. And unfortunately, it wasn't that epic of a film, but it was good. I will push back. I will push back on anyone who tells me that it's not a good film. I think Irishman is a good film. Certainly deserved its nomination. I got no qualms about it being nominated for Best Picture. But I do think the Academy wasn't looking to validate a 3.5-hour Netflix film. I just don't think they're there yet, and maybe someday they will. J. Scott for Real says, Streamlabs next time. Irishman shutout thoughts. I just gave them to you. Yeah, I wasn't surprised by it. I thought if this was 10 years ago, then The Irishman probably absolutely wins Best Picture, and maybe Pacino wins or Pesci wins, and De Niro gets nominated. If this is 10 years ago, but I think it's not 10 years ago. It's now, and now The Irishman is not a film that's going to appeal to a majority of the Academy anymore. So that could be positive for a lot of people. I'm going to have some peanut butter M&Ms. That's going to be positive for a lot of people, but for other people, maybe. So, I'm not surprised it didn't win. So that's what I would tell you. And I don't think they should feel snubbed at all. All right, we'll go ahead. Anthony Gonzalez says, why would Joker get sound mixing and sound editing nominations over films like Endgame or even Midway? Big ups to Ford versus Ferrari. No, it's a good question, but there are some action scenes in Joker. So the sound mixing, the sound editing, that's all there. Plus the music, the way it's streamed into what's happening on the screen, that's part of it as well. That's part of the sound mixing, the sound editing that goes into these kinds of things. And so, yeah, over Endgame, yeah, it does suck. But once again, like I said, I think it's that bias against superhero films. And they certainly weren't going to nominate Midway. Are you kidding? Nobody liked that movie. There's no way they're going to nominate it for visual effects when they can give it to a film that's like has some prestige to it, like Joker does. So that's probably what happened there, to be honest with you. And yes, big ups to Ford versus Ferrari. So great to see them win the Academy Awards that they won. That is a damn good movie. No one thought it was going to win Best Picture or anything like that. So to see you get some of the technical awards, it can still say an Oscar-winning film. Yeah, not Oscar Best Picture, but still an Oscar-winning film, and that's a credit to that film. So that's a positive overall for what they did there for Ford versus Ferrari. All right, 298 of you in here. Hey, give me some likes. I'm at 197. Would love it if the likes matched the amount of people that are in here. So another 100 likes from you all would be fantastic. And thank you so much for stopping in to talk with me about it. I don't have a moderator, so I'm rolling as I go along with this stuff. If you want to send in your super chats, feel free. But of course, Streamlabs is better for me because they don't take 30%. So if you want to donate, go to www.streamlabs.com/John Rocha, I think /tip, and then you can donate from there. So thank you all so much for sending in the stuff that you are sending in. Dave Chandler, he's the next one here on the super chat, says, hey, yo, you're the man. Oh, thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. You're the man for tuning in and sitting in with me live here. What did you think about Phoenix's quote from his brother? Touching speech from him. Really happy he won. As I said it a couple of minutes ago, I thought it was the best part of his speech. And the speech was goddamn great. You know, he didn't thank Todd Phillips. He didn't thank anybody else from the film that I can recall. He just spoke about the possibilities of that. So let's see. Let me bring it up here. Entertainment Tonight has it, I think. He said, yeah, Joaquin said, I'm filled with so much gratitude right now. I do not feel elevated above any of my fellow nominees. I thought that was a great way to start that speech because we share the same love, this love of film, right? Just like me and you guys, just like being cruel, being selfish, all these kinds of things, but also being given a second chance, which I think is a positive overall. He said when he was 17, here's the thing to his brother River, when he was 17, my brother wrote this lyric. He said, run to the rescue with love and peace will follow. So let's have a little bit of a larger discussion about that. There were a lot of political stances taken tonight that I thought were a bit too much, a bit tedious, to be honest with you. And you all, so those of you who followed me for quite some time, you know my politics. But I also think the Academy Award, if it's not a film that is a political film, then I don't see the point in making a political stance that is really not going to affect anybody who's watching. The people who are there already know how you feel, and the people who are already inclined to feel that way about the situation are already on your side. So you're not changing anybody in the red states by shaming them or shaming their representatives. So to me, I thought that wasn't the smartest way. So to have Joaquin say this thing, run to the rescue with love and peace will follow. Incredibly difficult thing to do because a lot of people get hurt when they try to do things out of good intentions, because sometimes human beings can be evil, can be selfish, can be cruel, can take advantage of you. So people are afraid to run in with love because they're afraid they're going to get used or abused or hurt or taken advantage of and lose money or lose time or possibly lose their lives. We've seen that happen before, people intervening in situations. So I think that's part of it. But, you know, the sentiment, though, is excellent sentiment. Run to the rescue with love and peace will follow. That's what you hope. If I love this person will calm down, this person will see the light, and it'll be fine. If I don't love this person, what's the end result? It's not going to be positive. So those are those kinds of things. So when they're taking stances earlier in the show and essentially kind of shaming people about certain things, I don't think that is running to the rescue with love and hoping peace will follow. I think it's running to the rescue with defiance and ready to battle. And so it doesn't always lead to the most positive things, in my personal opinion. So let's see here. You see, this is from Paul. Glad Once Upon a Time was not victorious tonight. All right, Paul, congratulations to you. Feeling great about that. Adam Jimenez says, it was great to see Fernando Lujan in memoriam representando Mexico. Yeah, there you go. All right, yeah, very positive. It was a very diverse Oscars, that's for sure. You know, we start out with Janelle Monáe, and then, you know, she puts it right there, right out for anybody to say that she is a woman of color who is queer and singing her song. And so all of that incredibly positive stuff going tonight. I thought there were some I thought people being in the audience doing some things was great. Please don't get mad at me. That Indian rapper, I don't know who that was, who summed up things. I thought that was a little supposedly get clicks. But the other stuff that was going on, I thought worked really well. And so